Hello, welcome back. As you can see, I have no plastics. That is because that's what we're doing in today's video. So we are doing the final assembly of the bike. So I've got tires, those are going on. We've got plastics, those are going on. As you can see, I have a new fuel tank, and yeah, let's take a look at what all we're gonna do today. Let's check out the color that I'm gonna go with for plastics, and some of the other parts we're gonna be putting on today. So, yeah. All right, so the plan here is start with the tires. We're gonna put on new tires. As you can see right here, I got some Dunlop MX33s. We got some disc guards. I got a rear guard here. I got a front guard there. Got an hour meter. It's gonna go on the bike. I'm gonna run a 51 tooth sprocket. I had this one actually laying around in the shop, so right now we have a 49 on there. I'm gonna go with a 51. And then obviously the plastics kit. And let's take a look at the color, because it's kind of a unique color, and that is the reason why I needed a new fuel tank. The original blue fuel tank just wasn't gonna match. I tried to dye it, and it kind of worked, but it wasn't like truly black. This one also has more capacity, so this actually holds a gallon more of fuel. I'm not really a fan of these oversized tanks, but this one doesn't look too bad, and it's actually gonna be really helpful because there has been countless times where I've been riding and just on fumes, almost out of fuel when we get back. So an extra gallon will be very helpful. And yeah, so let's take a look at those. All right, so plastics. This is actually a color that I've gone with before. With that said, let's get to it. So in case some of you are kind of wondering what I'm doing here, I'm actually cutting the old tube and I'm going to wrap it around the new tube. And that way it gives me a little more thickness, protect me from getting puncture flats, whether it's thorns or rocks or whatever, as well as it kind of adds a little more material into the tire so I can run a little bit lower pressure and it still keeps enough firmness to the tube to keep me from having too many issues with the tire wanting to come off the rim or the bead coming off, or just in general just keep me from having too many issues with running tubes. are on, brake guards, rotor guards are all on. Now, time to put the plastics on. So let's get to it. All right, well, what a project. Super stoked with the way this thing turned out. Let's go ahead and go through, I guess, kind of what I've done to the bike and what all I'm planning on doing with the bike. So starting at the top here, these are stock YZ bend Tusk oversized bars, or with ODI lock-on grips and Tusk bar ends. Clutch, I went with a Magura, whatever you want to call it, hydraulic clutch. I really like these. I ran it on my last 250 I had. Going down, suspension, I got all the suspension service, so new bushings, new seals, and fluids. With the fuel tank, I went with an oversized Clarky, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but obviously with this color, I needed to go with something other than the stock blue tank. Going down on the front here, we have a Cycra front disc guard, new brake pads. The wheels, I just cleaned them up, just kind of polished them, and that's all I did there. Moving down, it's got a Pro Circuit pipe on it. The muffler is an FMF power core. I'm gonna go with an FMF turbine core eventually, just because I need a spark arrestor for when I go ride in the mountains. Everything in the motor is brand new. I got this thing from a dealership. They got it on trade-in. The motor was bad in it, so they went ahead and did a 2023 250X top end, which is less compression and makes a little bit more torque down low, and it doesn't rev out as quick. Moving back, Renthal sprockets and chain. I went with a 51 tooth sprocket on the rear as opposed to the 49, which comes stock on it. Tires, these are Dunlop MX33s. I went with DeVol radiator guards as well as a rear disc guard. And then for foot pegs, I went ahead and did some Tusk, just pretty standard foot pegs. The old ones were pretty beat up, so I just threw on some new foot pegs. I'm not real picky when it comes to foot pegs. I don't do anything that crazy to where I require that much grip on the bike. And for the skid plate, I went with an AXP, I think it's AXP. So for these steel frame Yamahas, they only make the aluminum skid plates, and I just don't like the way they feel. I don't like the weight of them, and I don't like the way they look. This one here, it's actually for an 05 with the aluminum frame. and then all I did was just modify it to make it fit this bike. Jetting, I'm still kind of dialing in the jetting. It's a little different just because it's like kind of marrying two different bikes. And then obviously to wrap everything up neatly is the fluorescent yellow plastics. And honestly, I really like this color, especially on dirt bikes. It's just, I think it's cool, it stands out, it's different, not everyone runs it, and I decided not to go with graphics just because it's hard to get graphics that match fluorescent yellow. It's always got kind of a different look depending on what lighting it's in, so it's really hard to get graphics that match. As well as, honestly, I really like the clean, just clean slate, no graphics look on this thing. It's nothing crazy. It wasn't like a build where you tear it down and are polishing everything and it takes weeks or months to do. As far as the type of riding I'm planning on doing, really mainly gonna be doing trail riding, kind of mountain riding, but I will be going to the track too and riding some motocross stuff as well. I'm not a huge motocross guy. I don't push it super hard. Anyways, that's this. I hope you enjoyed the build. If you didn't see the other episodes, go back and watch. I got it all in one playlist. You can go through and watch it. I think for the most part, this is pretty much it for the build. Now I'm not done with videos on this bike. I'm still gonna be posting some riding videos and go take it out and do some testing and see how I feel, make some adjustments, and kind of bring you guys along the journey of taking a bike, getting comfortable on a bike, and then riding that bike, and then kind of adjusting it to your liking and tweaking things. And so with that said, I appreciate you tuning in, and yeah, if you could leave a like, some support, comment your thoughts or opinions. I'm curious what people think, and yeah, I guess that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoy. Here's some just good old raw two-stroke exhaust sounds for you, just to wrap it all up in a nice bow.
Yeah.